So I'm going to be doing a little tilling today. I've got the Ventrac, this is a 4520P, and I've got the KL480 tiller mounted up. Now, I will admit, it took me a little longer to take the rough cut off and attach this, and I really want to admit, it's not as easy as some of the videos make it look. I had to end up putting the jack stand on some hard bricks and chuck the front end so it wouldn't slide forward when I went in and missed the coupling with the attachment arms. But I'm sure I'll get a little better with that as time goes by. But the other thing I've been having problems with, I've noticed after I use this for a number of hours out in the field, either doing a rough cut or I did a little tilling on some flat areas last week. And I noticed these front tires tend to get low. They're not flat, they just lose air. And I have solved that. A real easy solution is this Airmoto portable air pump, because these things only hold 7 psi, and it's real easy to just pump them and reinflate them right back in the barn. That way you ain't got to bother taking it down to the air pump or you know, taking them off and taking the tires down to the air pump at the gas station. This thing is, the little Airmoto is a godsend. It's supposed to work great for car tires too, and I'm really glad I got one for Christmas. But like I said, last week I did some flatter areas. I'm interested to seeing how this thing will operate on a hill, because I'm going to be doing a little steeper areas back here where I want to put in some chicory and some clover for a food plot for deer, and it's kind of steep back there. So it does operate by backing as you till. You don't drive into it. The weight is forward, and I'm a little more comfortable with that because I'll be backing up the hills. I'm always worried about a tractor, you know, rearing back on its back tires. I know I'm probably a little too concerned about it, but I'm a little more comfortable backing up the hills with this thing with the weight set forward on the tiller. I've got the skid shoes cranked down to their deepest setting, and when I was doing the flat stuff, it was tilling down 8 inches, 10 inches, and it's really fluffing the ground up nice on what I did on the more shallow till I did last week. But I'm going to get out here and do the steeper plot where I want to put the clover and the chicory. So let's see how this thing does on a hill.
Let me hit a rock.
This is the hill I was working just then. It's steeper than it looks. When you start driving up it backwards, it can be kind of hard to keep a straight line. Missed a couple little places, but I've noticed up on the top hill up here, when you get to backing up and it's not perfectly straight up the hill and you start leaning a little to one side or to the other side, it's easier just to back out and continue tilling as you go, and then back down and redo the little spot that you missed, because once you start tilting sideways, it's almost impossible to hold the straight line backwards and pay attention to what you're doing with the controls. I'm gonna go get the machine, bring it back here, and give you an idea, a little better idea of the grade I'm tilling here. Alright, I've been running for an hour or so, and I got quite a bit done. And you can see it's cutting down quite deep. I have found that when he hits some stuff, like roots like this, it'll handle a root. The tiller will chop through roots up to about 2 inches. It can tangle the blade, and it has stalled on me a couple times when I've hit stuff in this caliber. If it starts choking, you can hear the belt slipping, and if you raise the bucket fast enough, the horsepower will kick back up and you can back off a little bit and lower it and start again. But you hit something like this and it catches in the blade, it will stall the unit, and you'll have to hit the brake and kick the PTO over again once you start back up. Back off a little bit so you're not right on top of this, or you just stall it again. It's doing a pretty good job. You can see it's cutting some nice sized roots. It's not as level as I would like. A lot of tire tracks, and it tends to trench when you stall or at the end of the row if you don't pick the bucket back up. I think it'll be all right, because my plan was to fertilize this and take a chain harrow and drag it across to work the fertilizer, and then I'm going to let it set for a couple weeks before I put the sunflowers in here. I got this back part here to do, so I'm going to get that where I want to put the clover and the chicory, and I will be done with about 1.5 acres. All right, so that is it. I did about 2 acres. I want to put the clover and the chicory back in there on the left, and I'm going to put in an acre or so of sunflowers. See how that goes. The pluses are this thing's very stable on the hill, runs real great. The 3 things I didn't like were it does stall when it hits stuff. It causes the blade to slip, and then the whole unit stalls. You have to stop, start it up again, re-engage the PTO, lift the bucket up, and try to back up. I was getting good there for a while I'd hear the belt start slipping, and I could raise the bucket and hop the obstruction and then lower it back down just the other side. It was big stuff. I hit a rock about this big. That's the other thing I didn't like. It got stuck in the blades. I had to bring the unit back up here and take a hammer and break the rock up to get it to fall out of the blades. The plus side on that is it was kicking rocks this big right out with the rest of the dirt. It was just shooting them away like they were nobody's business, and the roots were good too. I ran for about 4 hours, used 3/4 of a tank of gas, and I think it's going to work out. And I tell you what, I'm going to make putting in this little vegetable garden I want to put in here a breeze. So yeah, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I forgot to mention, it incorporates all the grass and weeds and everything that's growing there. I had it cut down to 7 inches. So it just turned that stuff right on under, and all the stuff that I bush hogged last fall was laying down in the thatch. It just poof right under, mixed it in. So that'll be some additional green manure for when I get my crops going. But hey, stick with us, see how these food plots turn out. This is my first attempt ever at growing anything on this scale, so I hope you give us a subscription. Check out a few more of our videos. We're www.camochairproductions.com, sharing the outdoors on YouTube.